through about how I see the opportunity for the cloud, and a bit about how I see how Intermedia fits into this as well. So I guess the first place to start, I want to just tell you a bit about how, I was going to bit back a step here, but just tell you a bit more about how Intermedia actually are. You kindly come to the step, but we haven't really taken the opportunity to tell you much about who we are. So our whole story started out as a hosted exchange provider. So we were the world's first provider for hosted exchange. And then over time people said, that's really good, we love what you've done there. But we also want you to provide things around secure file sharing collaboration, around email archiving. In the US, we even have a story around voice as well, which we partnered with a company in the UK to deliver. Hosted link, hosted SharePoint. How can you help us deliver these things? So, and actually over time we realised that actually it wasn't necessarily about the services we were delivering that was making us successful, it was the way we were delivering them. So we are now positioning ourselves as being essentially the world's largest one-stop shop for cloud IT systems, IT solutions. So we're much bigger in the US than we are in the UK. And frankly, everything we do is all built around this console called HostPilot. This is the ability to allow all of our partners the ability to control and manage all of these IT services from a central point. So, as I say, today we've also just launched in the UK, our secure file sharing collaboration solution. And that's really exciting. I think this is something that can really change the way that we do business. So, just to recap, our proposition is around hosted exchange, it's around email archiving, it's around secure file sharing collaboration. We also have the whole single sign-on story, which we came off the back of an acquisition we made last year as well. So, and again, the whole thing we're really selling has nothing to do with any of those things really. It's about the way in which we deliver them, the way in which we enable organisations to embrace the cloud with a worry-free experience. That's the big thing that we really deliver. We are a global organisation, as I say, we're much bigger in the US than we are in the UK, but it's my job to change that. I think one thing that we've really learned throughout our whole journey in the cloud, I mean, we were born in the cloud, everything we do is about the cloud. But the thing that we've really learned is the channel really matter. Channel really matter. We cannot do this without channel partners. There's no way we can achieve the kind of growth we want to achieve without a channel. And I think a lot of organisations, a lot of vendors have forgotten this. For my mind, it's people, as Tracy mentioned, people buy from people. That's never going to change. It doesn't matter what percent. It doesn't matter whether they're selling hardware, software. It doesn't matter. People buy from people. That's never going to change. I mean, I often use this anecdote. My father-in-law is a chartered surveyor. It doesn't matter whether it's cloud. It doesn't matter what it is. He won't buy any piece of anything to do with his business unless it's recommended to him from his local IT company. We absolutely totally believe the channel really matters. We've definitely seen that the channel's changed. So I think actually now, out there with the channel, trust is more important than it ever has been. Certainly, I don't think it's necessarily about price. Those partners and those channel partners that are just going out there selling out price, they're dying away. It's about the relationship between the buyer and the seller. The trust is more important than it ever has been. Partners that add value last longer. We've definitely seen that as well. We're not interested in partnering with organisations that are just trying to sell out at the cheapest price, that are just looking for the cheapest deal. We're trying to identify partners that understand the real value of delivering a good service. That's where we know we're going to have longevity. The other thing we've also seen is, I've seen this over years, is and again it comes back to Tracy's point, partners that work closely with their vendors are the ones that are the most successful. There's so much value. My background, I've also worked at a reseller, and I found, in my mind, the way that we became successful is by working closely with the vendors. The vendors have a huge amount of resources. They have money, and there's so many ways they can help you as a channel partner. So, and certainly we've seen this. The closer you work with your partners, your vendors, the more successful you can make yourself. I also think that the cloud presents a real opportunity for the channel to kind of deliver things that they probably couldn't have realistically delivered before. I mean, when we talk about our solution around exchange, secure file share, there's no way that a lot of these, perhaps some of these smaller partners, could deliver it to the extent that we can. And you can take this proposition, you can take this to market, and this makes absolute sense. So those organisations, those VARs that perhaps don't necessarily have the technical expertise or the infrastructure, that want to get into this space. I think that this vendors like ourselves present a real opportunity for the channel to do that. I think the other thing we've really seen is there's been a real change in the way that an IT partner works. The conversations that are being had, what the most successful partners were, the conversations they're having with their prospects is around the actual business value that delivers. It's not about, and as it's not about it has a dual-core processor, it's about actually, this is what it actually does, it's focusing on the end result, because that's what it is ultimately businesses care about. They don't want to spend time doing this stuff, they want to spend time putting money into projects that are going to actually make them profitable. So I think that IT resellers and IT VARs and they're really having to kind of reinvent themselves and have much more sensible business conversations. And it's not about the actual solution, it's not about the techie bits, it's not about what about those things. So I think the opportunity is significant. I mean, I think there's been so much hype around the cloud. But now it's real. People are actually paying. This is happening. This is real. This is not a fad anymore. This is not just a phase that people are going through. This is something that is the future. I was reading a trade and industry report yesterday, and they were saying 30% of SMEs that don't currently claim not to use the cloud already are going to do so next year. This is high growth. And you've heard this time and time again. Now is absolutely the time to be getting involved in this space. And I think obviously one of the challenges, I guess, that it does present though is, how do you make your money? You've traditionally sort of gone out and you've perhaps sold that server, you've sold that contract, and you charge that much money for, putting it in place. And then but so sometimes the concern is, where's the money for me? Where's the part of that? I think you have to kind of change the way that you think. Because actually, I think there's money in by being a trusted advisor, by being that consultant, and by making sure that almost you can say that we work with these guys because it makes sense. We've found the best organisations in the cloud for you to work with, and that's how this is our role. We're the consultant, and also I guess the money that you're making, building up a business on recurring revenue is a really good. That adds much more value to your business, and that's significant. I think that requires a change in thinking because you don't necessarily get quick money. It's not like you're selling a server and making a margin. It's pretty straightforward. You've got to think a bit longer term. But actually, I think it's a significant opportunity to really add significant value to your business. I think the other opportunity is actually, I think it's relatively easy to sell in terms of, I'm not asking you for a big lump of money up front. I'm saying actually, we've got a solution here, and this works, and you can pay for it monthly. And you know what? If you don't like it, that's fine. We're not going to tie you in. We can help you get to this place and make sure that you check it and you like it. And if you like it, stay with it. And actually, ironically, by giving people the way out, it actually creates stickier customers. It has the opposite effect. Our churn rates are incredibly low. Once people sign up, people don't sign, they don't cancel the service, they just allow it to run, it just works. So it makes it quicker, it makes it easier to sell. Certainly trying to get a proposition to somebody that's going to cost them £100 rather than £10,000 is much easier to get signed, it's much easier to get commitment. I think it's also similar. I think certainly, we've designed everything we've done, and I think certainly it's true of quite a lot of organisations providing cloud services. We've designed this with the end user in mind. So it's simple to understand, it's simple to price and license and get around. And I've found sometimes that's one of the reasons that some of these partners exist is because just to get through all the nonsense around the licensing, just to figure out what it actually all means. And I think actually the good thing about cloud is you've got this is the solution, this is the bundle, this is exactly what it will do. You pay monthly, it makes it so much easier to understand. And I think there's also good money to be made in this as well. I mean, I think, if you choose the right vendor, I think there's some vendors out there who can't pray for nonsense, but I think if you choose the right vendor, I think there's a really good opportunity to make some decent recurring revenue. I'll give you an example. So we have a couple of different methods in which we tend to partner. So we have an advisor model whereby we basically give you 3 times the monthly revenue up front, plus we give you a recurring revenue for the lifetime of the account, provided they don't cancel. Or we have a white label model, whereby you own the building, and you own the support. You absolutely do all of it, and that's equally fine. So we have two different models. So this is an example of it. So this is we worked out that 150 customers, average user count 50, so that's a little bit bigger than we usually do. But over a 3-year period, we're talking here about just short of £400,000 profit. And to bear in mind, of course, there's no support cost, there's no overhead. It's £400,000. We've got some partners who pretty much just, to be fair, they just make the money on the commissions they're making on this, and that's for life. So whatever happens for life, this partner is going to have, even if they didn't sell anything ever again, is going to get £65,000 a year. It's pretty good, eh? So the key things that we've really seen, I think are really important to get across, which again really tie back to the comments that Clive was making, is really make sure that you're focusing on the end result. It's nothing to do with the technology, it's nothing to do with how great the servers are, it's about the end result. What does this actually do for me as a business? What does it mean for me to fix this and keep it simple? Make sure that all of your sales and marketing addresses benefits. People don't, features and data sheets, they don't create action, they don't excite anybody. Nobody gets excited and says, I've got to buy it because it's got those 4 features. That doesn't do anything for anybody. What it is actually that really helps is get to the bottom of what the business problem is, and make sure that everything you talk about in your sales and marketing addresses the business problem. That's what matters. Ensure that your offering is realistic and believable. Now, I talked about, we have a couple of different models of partnership. We have a private label model, and we have an advisor model. Now, let's be realistic. I mean, we have some partners out there, and they've signed up a bunch of these different vendors, and they've done it on the right way, right? And they perhaps, let's say, 4 or 5 people in the business. They go out to their end user and they say, I've got 5 lines in my data center, I've got 24/7 support, I've got data centers in 8 global locations. And that prospect is looking at that reseller thinking, hey, it's just not realistic, it's not believable, it doesn't make sense. So make sure in the method and the way in which you're partnering with the organisations that you're engaged with, make sure it's suitable, make sure it makes sense, make sure it's believable. It would also really help you win more. If you could say that we partner with these guys because we know they're the best, it's going to give you credibility through association. It's really important to make sure you choose the right model, because we've seen partners that have attempted to pass this off and end up walking away and not winning the business. I think it's also quite important to make sure that you go through the process of understanding. I'm not a big believer that you should go out and say, we've got a great cloud solution. I think this is about what is it you care about as a business? I want to make sure that it's always up. I want to make sure that the data centers in different locations. I want to make sure that it works. I want to make sure it's easy to manage. That's what I want. And if they're the things if that's what you care about, and we've got the right solution. If you go in there and you're asking questions and say, you know what, I just don't want to change. I just want to stick. They're not ready. Assess where they are to determine how much education you need to take place before you're in a position to sell to them. Don't go in there and don't try and pitch too early. Don't go in there and say, we've got this amazing new cloud solution, and this is just going to change everything. Because frankly, that's just going to scare the hell out of people. So I think it's really important to actually make sure that you qualify, because not everybody's going to be ready yet. I think you've got to be quite conscious of that to determine actually where they are in the process. Really important point, Clive made earlier, I couldn't agree with this more, so make sure that you compensate the sales team properly. So if you're running a VAR or an MSP and you've got half a dozen salespeople and they're all target on gross profit, and you're telling them, okay, say you've just sold a 10 grand deal, but we're only going to give you £100 a month or whatever, really? It's just not going to wash. I think that they want that short-term gratification for a start. That's important for salespeople. That's the reality. And although obviously you can tell, explain to me, look, think about it. In 3 years' time, you'd have done your number. They don't care about that. They want to know what's in it for me now at this very point in time. So So make sure that when you're thinking about, if you're going to go further down the road and embrace the cloud, make sure that you've got a proper process in place for how you compensate yourself. Maybe front load it as Clive said. I mean, this is, and I think also you've got to try and make sure that it's a key part of your strategy as well. There's no point saying, hey, we're going to do cloud, but half-heartedly do it. You've got to make sure that, that they're really on board with this. Because if you just give them the option of selling cloud or on-prem, they're going to sell what they've always sold, and that's what they'll always do, because that's what they're used to. The tough thing, going a bit of a tangent here, but the real tough thing, I think, when you're trying to actually get, when they're trying to kind of get into this process of selling cloud is changing habits. People are we're so used to doing the same things. We're so used to selling in the same way. We're so used to selling the same thing, even if it's the wrong things. Even if we know it doesn't make us any money. That's just what we do. We're creatures of habit. So I think that actually make sure that you compensate yourselves to properly is important, because that will help change behaviour. But also just get into a process of just asking 2 or 3 different questions. Get them into the habit of just asking some more sensible questions around the actual business end result. So, I think there's a number of points here which, again, this really kind of summarises on really quite a few of the topics we've really had today. Certainly, choosing vendors and providers care. The difference here is we're not talking here about whether I sell that product. We've got to believe in these people. We've got to believe in these providers that we're working with. It's really important, because if they have an attitude or there's a failure or something goes wrong, your reputation is on the line. Choose your providers carefully. Trial them, call their support teams. Check out their engineers. Check them out. How quick are they at delivering the pricing when we need it? How quick are they at resolving problems? Because more importantly than ever before, this stuff, you're relying on them. You're putting a huge amount of trust in this organisation. You're putting, your success in the hands of somebody else. That's scary. Make sure that you get that right as to who you partner with as well. And make sure your values match as well. I mean, if you're considering if you're a very small partner, and you're considering with a very, very big partner, very, very big vendor, will they really care about you? Will you get the mind share that you want to get the resources you need to be successful? Just really try and look at their values and get an understanding as to whether they actually match. Because that's so important, If their values don't match your values, then what, do you partner with the wrong people? Talks about appropriate conversation, but it really is important, Make sure you choose the right partner model. Again, I can't emphasise how important that is. It would be lovely if, as a small partner, you could go out there and make everybody believe you were this massive. But the reality is actually, sometimes it actually does make more sense to say, we found a great partner here, and this makes sense for us to partner with them, and then we've decided that we want to work with them because we think they're the best for you. There's nothing to be embarrassed about by using that model. Focus on the end result. Again, I can't emphasise how important this is. We've got, I think it's true of all sales, not just cloud, but the more that you talk about the products and features, the more it becomes about the products and features. Actually, what it's about what does it do for me? What pains does this fix? And this is even more true, because the problem with clouds, you've got nothing physical to actually show you as well. It's so much about the actual value that it delivers at the end. There is opportunity, obviously, to make money on, I think you need to obviously think about how you're going to make money by working with that provider, and I think about how you're going to charge for your services that you're going to wrap around this, because I admit, you might not be able to charge for that physical bit of installation that you're doing, so think about how you're going to do that. It may be that you actually do factor that into the price that you charge monthly. Maybe you factor in some charge for consultancy for helping them come on board. But just be conscious that that is something you need to factor in. But there are opportunities. You can manage the whole migration process. Certainly at Intermedia, one of the things that we do is we provide free migration. You can provide your own migration, absolutely fine. But we provide free migration, and we provide obviously the technical support. You can charge for this. You can sell our free migration, that's absolutely fine. You can sell our technical support, that's absolutely fine. Practice what you preach. Again, I think this is really important as well. I think it's nothing more valuable when you go and speak to a prospect and say, well, we use it. It's really good. We've never had it. It works absolutely fine. The other thing we find works well, when we want to send somebody a document, we send them a link to our security. So we have to go on to security to actually look at the actual, get prospects in the habit of actually using the things that you sell. Choose an established vendor, choose an organisation. If you're going to do this, okay, it's so important that you choose the right partner, right? It's really, I can't emphasise how important that is. You've got to get that balance right, because you don't want a provider that's going to be here today and then gone tomorrow. That's not going to help anybody. But you also, on the same token, don't want it to be so big that you're just going to become a number. I think it's really important to really assess and evaluate the vendors that you're proposing on working with to determine if they're the right fit for you. Keep control. Well, of course, one of the things that the channel does, the cloud does in some respects, is that you kind of lose a bit of the control. If something happens, you have to really rely on that provider to fix it. You can't. To a certain extent, your hands are tied. So, as much as possible, we're trying to own that process. Get hooked into whoever the technical account manager is, into the technical support team. So if something happens, you can manage that process, because it's really important that your customers see your value. Critically important, but make sure that you, even if we are doing the process, or the vendor are doing the process for the migration, the ingestion, or whatever, make sure that you're able to still keep control and manage that process, because I think that is still seen as real value for the end user. Make sure you choose a partner that has a serious channel program. There's no point partnering with, for my mind, it's about partnership, right? A partnership is everybody wins, right? We all engage for a mutual end goal, right? Saying to a channel partner, we're going to give you 4% margin and good luck with that, and we're never going to ever have it. That's nonsense. That's not. How's that a partnership? That doesn't make any sense at all. Make sure that when you're assessing the vendors, that actually the terms make sense and they have a clear channel program. Make sure they're not going to compete against you. How frustrating is that when you've done all the work and then there you go, the vendor speaks from the last minute and steals it? That's absolute nonsense. That's not a proper channel program. Make sure you really go through and evaluate the channel program. Ask to speak to other partners' references. That's fine. I would. I think it's also really important to try and keep it as simple as possible as well. I think, while I definitely think you should always make sure you've got the best vendor for the job, make sure that you don't spread yourself out too thinly. Try and make sure that it's as many services. I'm clearly biased because obviously we have this control panel which manages all these multiple services, but try and make sure you have the ability to manage as many different services in one place as possible. That makes your job so much easier. If something fails and you want to get to the bottom of it, you're not having to go to multiple places to work out what's happened. And I think it's also, again, we talked about this earlier, but make sure it's a two-way partnership. I hate this term resellers. You're not resellers, you're partners. It's a big difference. A partnership is, I want to try and help you grow your business. That means I'm going to help you generate leads. I'm going to help you when you have a prospect that needs somebody to deliver a demo to. I want to help you do that. I want to help you. We've got, within Intermedia, we have what used to be, started years ago, a direct team, are now direct touch. The idea is you can come to us and we can help you win business. We want you to be successful. The more business you win, the more profitable you are, the more you're going to want to do business with us and the more everyone wins. Make sure that in any relationship you have, you're not a reseller, you're a partner. And on that, thank you very much.